Hi folks, it's Steve here from Analytics in Action. What I want to do today is give you a very quick introduction to stored procedures in SQL Server. So I'll talk about a number of things today. So first of all, I'll talk about what are stored procedures and why use them. Then I'll provide some demonstration files so you can follow along with this tutorial if you want. And in the tutorial itself, we will create, execute, and delete stored procedures, and we'll also do some work with parameterized stored procedures, and then we'll wrap up with talking about some additional resources you may find useful as well. So what are stored procedures? Essentially, stored procedures are a little bit of Transact SQL code that are stored centrally in a database. And there are a number of advantages of stored procedures. So by storing them centrally, it makes them a lot easier to administer. So by having them in one spot, different people can access that code. But what it does is it means there's only one copy of the code. It doesn't mean everyone has their different variation of that code. So when that code perhaps needs updating, someone can just centrally update it, then everyone else has access to that to the updated code. That makes things a lot easier from an administration perspective. There's also another advantage. Stored procedures can accept parameters, and that allows a lot of flexibility with stored procedures. So for example, if a piece of Transact SQL returns, for example, sales figures by several sales regions, you might have a parameter of sales region, which will mean if you add in parameters such as northern region, just information for that region will return. So you're using the same code centrally, but the parameter provides flexibility to return just the information that you want. Okay, so we'll jump across and download the demonstration files from my website. So my website is analyticsinAction.com, and if you go to stored-procedures or navigate to resources, you'll see this page here, and I've got a link to download code. So what we do is just copy all of that code, and we can copy it there, and we'll drop it into, that will spark up SQL Server Management Studio, and click on New Query, and we'll just paste this in. There we go, so that's all the code. So first of all, we'll just create a database and a table that we can test our stored procedures against. So the first thing we'll do is click on the Create Database code here, execute. Okay, that's created our database. Now we want to create a table and insert some data, some sample data into it. Again, highlight it, execute, and what we'll see when we click the little refresh button up here, we'll shrink it down and then click refresh. We'll see this example database has appeared. Click down through it to tables, and we'll see the products table is there. We'll select the top 1000 rows, and we'll see, well, there's actually only 4 rows, and it has a number of different computer items and their sales price. Okay, so that's what we'll be running the stored procedures against today. So in terms of creating a stored procedure, it's a pretty simple process. You just type create proc and then provide a name for the stored procedure, and then and this is really where the key bit is. Here you have the actual Transact SQL code that you want contained within the stored procedure, and then you just highlight it, run it. We see that the command is successful. You can tell whether you can actually go and look at the stored procedure by looking under programmability, expand that out. We'll see stored procedures, expand that out again, and we see simple SPs. That's been created, so that's all good. So once you've created a stored procedure such as that, which selects all the products from the product table, you will probably want to execute it. So to do that, you just type exec, execute, and then the name of the stored procedure, and then you run it. You can also type execute, the full name, does the same thing. Okay, so that's a very, very simple stored procedure, but generally what you want to do is actually supply a parameter to filter the data down. So the process is pretty much the same, except we will add a parameter. So what we're going to do is add a parameter for the item column. One little note here too, I've also put a equals null at the end, which will mean that the the store procedure will also run without a parameter being supplied. So let's just create this stored procedure called demo proc, run it, and then we will execute it. So as mentioned before, this this stored procedure will, even if I don't supply a parameter, it will still run. But obviously, because I don't supply a parameter, it won't return a result. But for example, I'm trying to think what. Okay, obviously, no. I'll type in. So I don't know. There we go. So if we want to supply a parameter, it'll also work. Okay, so another thing you can do is supply a default value. So this is what I've done in this next example, is put a equals tablet in it, and that means that when we run that without a parameter, the default will come back. So let's just create that, execute it, and then see there, so that'll come back as. But again, we can add a parameter if we want. There we go. So so that's pretty much it. So okay, what you quite often want to do also is to delete store procedures. So you can just jump straight in to programmability again, and delete it out of there. Right click, delete, or you could just run the code as well, which is drop proc. There we go, and that's it. So that's pretty much stored procedures. Hope you found this this useful. If you did, what I'd suggest is come across to the website, or the other option is subscribe to my my YouTube channel. So just click on the subscribe button, and that way every time every time I produce another video, you'll get an update.